Hello, my name is Carl Surrey and this is a video tutorial for the Facebook group called Fans of Serif Software, and it is for the PC version of Affinity Design, although it would work just as easily on the Mac version. The PC version has only been out a very short while, a couple of months now I think, and myself and many other PC users are still learning how to use this program. And to help us do that, I set a challenge within the Facebook group of making a Christmas poster. Because we are now, at the current time we're recording this, we're now December 2016. So I made myself a poster for a theatre, going to the theatre to see A Christmas Carol, and I wanted a snowflake in the picture. Now I thought snowflake, that would be quite easy to draw, and I must admit I found it extremely difficult. So I went online and I had a look for tutorials in other programs, or even the Affinity Designer Mac version, where they did a snowflake, and I couldn't find one. I must admit I didn't do an exhaustive search, but I couldn't find one, so I've been working on making one, and this was the result I ended up with. And I want to try and recreate this again to show you how I got to this. I will make it slightly different. I'm going to try and not having these lines here crossing over. I just want them to join up, making a star. But although you can make it like this one. And if I just zoom out here and bring this over here, as you can see, I've been using this snowflake I've made, and as you reduce it in size it sort of becomes less and less like a snowflake and just like a white blob. So really it's a case of you don't necessarily want to make it too over elaborate, because as you reduce it in size, that elaborateness will get lost and it will just end up looking like a blob. So you want to bear that in mind if you are going to try and go for a very elaborate looking snowflake. So the basic principles of a snowflake, apart from the fact that they are all different, which obviously mine aren't if I was repeating them like I have here, is that they have 6 main prongs, spikes, whatever you want to call them. So this is the effect that we are looking for. So let me just start up a new file. So I'll come up to File, New. Now I'm going to make it with a transparent background, and I've gone for a custom size of 600 by 600 pixels and 30 dots per inch. And I am going to create an artboard. You don't have to, but I'm going to, because I'm going to sort of show you like what I've done here to the left of that. So, and then click OK. So this is my 600 by 600 start area with a transparent background. Now, well, I'm going to make a new layer, and I'm going to fill it with black, only so I can see the white lines that I'm drawing. Because if I try and draw white on this transparent background, you won't be able to see it really. So I'll make a black layer, and then we can delete or hide it later when I save this as a PNG, so I can keep my transparent background. So first thing I need to do is to make a new layer. You come over here to this icon, it says Add Pixel Layer, and then come over to the tools on the left, and you can either press G on the keyboard or go for Fill tool, and we want the color black. Now before I do this, I do want to point out that if I put this on white at the moment, now on my monitor and this computer, white doesn't look white, it's more of a cream color. But that said, white does display okay on my monitor. I hope you can see like the text here is okay, and even these symbols up here where there is white. It is just on the color picker options. I have this problem with Adobe Elements as well, but the end result, you know, once I've saved it and bring it back in or whatever, it will look white. It just doesn't look white while I'm working on it, but I'm assuming yours will be okay. So what I want is black, so I'll just come over here and then bring the sliders all the way to the end, so it's 0, 0, 0, which is black. So on the artboard we now have a pixel layer that is all black, just so we can see the drawing. So next we need a grid. Now depending on how yours are set up, but you can just press the control and apostrophe and the grid will be displayed. I'll just turn it off, but you can come to view and show grid. As you can see, there is control and apostrophe, and if you do want to set it up differently, you can come to grid and access manager, and I've set mine up for yellow main grid lines and yellow subdivision lines, so it can be seen easily on this black background, and a spacing of 10 pixels with one division. So just put show grid and close. So this is going to help me draw the lines that I need. So what I need now is the pen tool. You can either press P on the keyboard or select the pen tool. Now currently it is set for black, so I'm going to set this for white. So just bring all the sliders right over to 25555. So white is now the colour for the pen tool, and where up here this button that says none at the moment, I'm going to alter the width to 5 pixels. It's probably easier just to type 5 in. So this is the middle line coming down here, so I'm going to come down 3 squares from there, and also I want to be on the line mode. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. So line mode, so 3 down from there, click there, and come down to 3 up from the bottom. So we have our first line there. Now what I want now is a shape on the end of this line. Now I think it was the best sort of shapes for this sort of snowflake would either be the diamond or a circle. I'm going to go for a diamond, and I'm just going to, I'll just hang on, what's going on here? Let's try that again. Here we go. What I'll just move this over. And I'll just reduce the size slightly, move it into place. So it's pretty much where I want it there. And what I would do is highlight that diamond layer, duplicate it, and then I'll remove that duplicated area down to the bottom. So there we have the two ends of the first line. Now next thing I want is a circle in the middle. I'll come up to the ellipse tool. Now what I want is the line of the circle to be white and the inside of the circle to be white, so you have to make that both of these to be set to white, and if I hold down the shift button it will keep the circle as a circle rather than an oval or any other shape. So once I have that, come back to the move tool and put this over the very middle area. I get it roughly, and then I can use the arrow keys on the keyboard just to nudge it up and down or left and right by very small degrees. I find it hard to do it with the mouse to get it precise, but when you use the arrows on the keyboard you can just nudge it into position. So we have the center. So the next thing I want is another circle, but this one I want to make it smaller. I'm going to draw it over here and I will move it later. So I'll just, and as you can see there, I forgot to do the fill. I must have forgotten to do the fill as white. Yeah, why didn't it do it? Let me delete that and try again. A circle. Hold down the shift. That's better. Make it slightly smaller. Come down. I really don't know why that didn't happen like that the first time. You come to the move tool. I just want to put this so it's in the center of and then I'll just use the keyboard arrows to get it in the center of these two cross lines here. And now I'm going to go back to the pen tool, again in line mode. I think I'll reduce this down to 4 points. Again, white is set as a color, and I'm going to click on the center point, and then I'm going to come out diagonally 1, 2, 3 spaces that way. When I did the version where the lines crossed over and went extended slightly, I think I went to 5, I went up to the corner, but this time I'm going to drop it back to 3, and then I'm going to do the same thing from here back to the middle. So what I want to do now is I'm going to highlight all 3 parts of that little V shape that I've made there. I'm going to right click and group. So now when I move these, they will all move together. So come up to the move tool and I'm going to bring it to about there. Then I'm going to come to the group that's still highlighted, right click, duplicate. We're still on the move tool, so I can bring this down here, get hold of this top thing here and rotate it round, and then bring it to, where is it, about there. should be, that's it. So there should be the same spacing from the center to that center there, and the center to that center there. Now, what I'm also going to do now is I'm going to highlight that group. I'm going to duplicate it again, and then I'm going to just drag this down to there, and then on the layers I'm going to highlight this top group, duplicate it, and then move this up to there. That's too high, let's move that down one. That's better, I think. Right, so that column is now pretty much complete. So all I need to do now is to click, hold down the control button and then click on all the elements that I've made so far, but not the bottom black layer, and then right click and then group. So now we have just the one group of that, and then I'm going to right click that, duplicate it once, right click, duplicate it again, and then as we're still on the move tool, I'm just going to put the cursor just slightly above this top node, move that round. I'm just going to put it roughly there for now. Click on the layer below and rotate that round. Now it's just a case now of moving these two different groups so it fits and looks better. It's nearly there. I mean, it may not end up looking perfect, as I'm pretty sure it's not going to, but I think that's about pretty much as good as that is going to get position wise. Now you could add more diamond shapes or circles on the end of some of these prongs that are coming out. Might be a good idea, maybe over the where these join, just to make them look a bit better. But for the demonstration purposes, that is sort of adequate where I could stop there. So what I can do again now is click and highlight by holding down the control button and then clicking all three of these to make sure they're all connected, right click and group them. So now that is all one item. So if I zoom back out again from this artboard, I'll come to the artboard tool and draw a nice big new artboard here, which I'm going to fill with a blue colour. So if I was doing a sky, you press Control and apostrophe to get rid of the grid. So if I was drawing a sky picture and I want snowflakes on it, I can do that. So I will now hide this black layer. Because you see what I mean, you wouldn't have been able to see that if I was drawing it without that black layer. And I'm going to highlight that group, press down the Alt key, Control and Z. Make sure I'm on the move tool. I always forget to put it back on the move tool. On the move tool, highlight that group, hold down the Alt key and drag it on to that blue area that I've just made. So again, you can move this around, resize it. I mean, if I reduce it in size, I mean, you can go quite small before it starts to just become a blob. But even at that size, you could say it was a snowflake. Better. I think at that size. I'll just come back to this one I've made here, and I'll reactivate the pixel layer, the black background, and I'll just zoom in again a bit. And what I'm going to do, because the group is still highlighted, I'm just going to come to the effects menu. Let me zoom in a bit more so you can see what's happening here. And I'm going to just go with, make sure that, yes, it's still highlighted, effects menu, and click on 3D, and just going to give it, make it look a bit more 3D effect. And I also found that outer glow was quite good, especially if you change the colour to like a yellowy colour, and then just increase that to give it a bit of a shine. And then let me zoom back out again. Make sure I'm on the move tool, yes, hold down the Alt key, just drag that over. So from the one image that I've made, you've now got two different types of snowflake. They're just plain flat one, or the 3D type effect snowflake. And don't forget to save your original image, but before you do, hide or delete the black layer, and then export as a PNG, and then select selection without background, and then just click export and save it wherever you want it to save, under whatever name you want to save it as. And that is this little tutorial finished, looking at how to make a fairly basic snowflake. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.